These are the voyages of SV Prism. The crew on board are searching for exotic landscapes and foreign cultures as they sail their 33-foot sailboat beyond horizons.
After getting dropped off by another cruiser with a car, we waited for our bus to arrive. For about $30 a person, you can use the Tufesa bus to get you to Phoenix, Arizona. You can also take these buses to really any major city in the U.S. for a very reasonable cost. Being the only Americans on the bus, we made it across the border within minutes. Our Mexican busmates had to endure a much longer and thorough check-in.
We are in Phoenix, Arizona. It was a long ride from Guaymas on the bus, around 12 hours.
We caught a cab to the airport and we made it to our plane. After a quick stop in Salt Lake City, we touched down safely in Fresno, California.
Family has picked us up, and of course our first stop that needs to happen is In-N-Out.
Having filled our stomachs with our favorite fast food, we drove up to our family's mountain home and almost immediately started work. Let's have Mr. Kevin Costner introduce the project John got to work on.
Of all the legends from the days of gunslingers and desperados, no one fires our collective imagination more than Billy the Kid.
John got the great opportunity from his old boss and good friend Jeff to be the director of photography for our National Geographic Channel documentary.
Being the director of photography, also known as the DP, I got to help set the look, pick the gear, and light the scenes working side by side with the showrunner and executive producer. This documentary follows the story of a couple who believe they have a photo of Billy the Kid and the whole gang of regulators. The story really revolves around trying to prove this picture is authentic and sharing the story of what we learn about Billy in the process of looking through history. It was a great experience, and I'm so grateful to have colleagues at home who are continuing to look out for me while we cruise these remote places in the world.
The Mason 43 Sea Castle that John had grown up sailing in the Bay Area needed some major projects done on it before we could head back to Prism. So without delay, we loaded the newly acquired 4Runner and drove the 120 miles to Berkeley to move on and start construction. Almost immediately upon arrival, word got out that we were back in town, and my old job at the boatyard wanted me back for the summer. So I left John to do the Sea Castle projects on his off time from the documentary, while I jumped right back into working full-time at my old job. The project list was extensive. Where could he be? There he is.
Hey. Got the headliner off almost all the way. Black mold. Yummy. And all the laminate stuff on the wall is coming apart, so I'm pulling that off. I think bare wood looks better than cracked laminate, so.
We started destruction immediately on the decks, first by removing all the hardware, popping every wood plug and removing every screw that didn't break off. Next, everyone got a chisel and a hammer, and we slowly peeled up each teak board. We were able to save almost all of the teak, and we gave it to a local wood bank to be used for something else one day. The next step was to use the die grinder and dish every hole. Areas that had water sitting, causing delamination, were left to dry. It almost took a whole month to dry out the wet core. At that point, John mixed thickened epoxy and poured it into each hole, letting it soak into the core. After a few treatments of that, he moved on to a slightly thicker epoxy and then sanded the entire deck. After days of filling and fairing, the deck was smooth, hard, and level. John's mom wanted a nice professional finish and did not want the lip where the old teak originally butted up against the cabin top. So we grounded this lip and laminated a gradual curve around the entire cabin top. Once we were happy with all of the glass work, John cleaned the surface with the help of my older brother Will. John then proceeded to roll on the 2-part epoxy barrier coat. At this point, the mason's haul date was approaching and the summer was coming to an end. So it is early September. Geez, almost mid-September now. Where has the summer gone? And we have been working on this mason, John's mom's boat, all summer. And we are currently on our way to be hauled out and get a bottom job done. On the road again. We motored out from Berkeley on a calm and somewhat rare summer morning for the bay. With no hardware on the deck, including no lifelines, we putted into the estuary of Richmond, completely relying on the 36-year-old Perkins. Passing the big ships unloading crude oil into the refinery, we made our way to KKMI and into the hauling ways. Having somewhat recently hauled Prism, it was such a different experience to use an American yard. Where we were very hands-on in Mexico, the guys here wanted their space, and the less info you gave them, the better.
It's a mini Panama Canal. He's got it. I got it. Yep.
Once on the hard, I went back to work and John drove to Petaluma to see a friend to help build the new chain plates, while Sea Castle got her bottom sanded and painted. Jerry is a longtime supporter of this channel, along with his wife Carol. They had their 43-foot Hallberg Rossi on the same dock as us in Berkeley for years, and cruised to Mexico and back the year before we left. They since brought the boat back home and went back to work. Luckily, Jerry's family's business makes large machinery, and he was nice enough to help us make the 6 new 36-inch long, 3/8-inch stainless steel chain plates. When we removed the old chain plates from Sea Castle, we discovered that first, the pin sizes were too large at 3/4 of an inch, when they should have been 5/8 inch. Also, where the plates intersected the decks was a band of severely corroded stainless, from water being sealed into the deck cavity. Having no extreme bends, we thought it would be pretty simple to make new plates. But after a closer inspection, we learned that every plate was slightly different, and 4 of the 6 plates needed to be milled narrower by 1/8 of an inch. Needless to say, one day of after-hours work turned into a full weekend. John stayed at Jerry and Carol's house till the chain plates were finished, while I stayed on the Mason and commuted to work from the KKMI yard. With the plates done, John installed them and started the other projects. Learning the bottom job only included 1 coat of paint. John added 1 more with a 1/3 on the leading edges and waterline, using up the last of the paint. Replacing the cutlass bearing required removing the 8-foot-long prop shaft. We found severe corrosion and learned that the shaft was slightly bent. After the prop shop condemned the shaft as unsavable, we had a new one made. John finished up installing everything before using up his 10 days off, as he had to get back on the road on the 11th day. We splashed Sea Castle and motored back to Berkeley. Back in the slip, we visualized where the waterways and non-skid pads would be on the deck of the Mason. Once prepped, John sprayed all grip using a touch-up gun. He applied 4 coats in these areas. Anywhere hardware was mounted to the deck was also sprayed. At this point, the hardware could go on and the boat would be officially sealed up. Next step was to tape off all these newly sprayed areas to roll on the non-skid. On a sunny day, John was able to do 2 coats of Kiwi grip and rip off the tape, leaving professional results. Time was running out. I put in my last day at the yard, then helped John finish the last of the projects. After that, we ran a single bead of teak deck systems along the tow rail and touched up the varnish as well. A few days and coats of Epipons later, the boat was done and we had finished everything on our list with no time to spare.
They're going, Shanny.
Ugh.
Let's see if I don't fall in the freaking water while doing this.
With your camera.
Oh yeah. That's what we call fixing Shannon's shit.
Yeah, we're working on 4 hours of sleep and we haven't eaten.
And when she says she hasn't eaten anything, she means literally, we've had coffee this morning. I've had 2 lifesavers. And that is it. That is the entirety of being awake since 6 a.m. working on this boat. And yeah, I think the only reason we did that is because we had 2 massive burritos at like 2 a.m. while working still. And I had 2 Guinnesses. So that might be just tying me over. The old Irish tie over.
We packed the 4Runner and headed to the mountains to be there for the birth of our newest nephew and to say our goodbyes as we head back to Mexico. We had decided to buy a new dive compressor while back in the States. Because we'd be driving back to Prism, it would be easy to transport. So with only hours before we were getting ready to leave, John built a weatherproof deck box for the new compressor, using marine ply and the leftover paint from Sea Castle.
We are finally leaving Shaver. It is December 2nd, and we were supposed to leave at noon, but as you can see, it's like 4 or 5. The 4Runner is completely loaded down to its suspension. There's Shannon. She's been waiting all day for me to finish my editing because I waited to the last second, I know. And darn clients. Stupid money that we had to make. There's Mom. She's getting in her car. Hey! And yeah, we are getting out of California, getting back to Mexico. We are super excited. We are going to Cambria tonight, where Shannon's family lives, and we're going to pick up Sean, as you guys all know who that is. And then tomorrow we will be leaving for Mexico. Let's get on. We are in Cambria, and I'm trying to pack the car up right now in order to fit Sean. We're gonna pick him up. He's just down the road. As you can see, the back seat is really full right now. I actually pulled some stuff out, and I am taking my clothes out, and I am shoving them back there. Bags are overrated. There we go.
It is about 3 o'clock in the morning. Jesus Christ, that scared me. We are just outside of Phoenix on our way to Mexico, taking turns driving. It is absolutely freezing. The passengers can't really sleep because your neck is jammed into corners where it shouldn't be.
Holy moly, guys. Hi. Oh, she's great. Didn't think we'd make it there for a second, but I'm glad to report we did. Holy moly. What an adventure. Tires are still inflated. We're all still alive. How are you feeling, Sean?
I'm relieved to be out of the car.
That was like a 20, that was more than 14 hours.
Oh yeah.
That was like 19, 20 hours?
Yeah, what time did we leave?
Well, we left Cambria at like 2.
Yeah.
So it was 23 hours for us, and
Yeah,
I think we left
around like
5?
Yeah.
And it's 1:30 right now? Holy moly, but there's Prism. Prisma. She is still in one piece. The varnish, surprisingly, is still all together. It looks like all my holes in my rudder are nicely dried out. SV Summer came by and wrapped our prop again because the old bag rotted off, like the one that's on the wind vane right there. It's just in pieces. Find a ladder somewhere and see what happens. See how bad it is downstairs. Oh my God, that's not good.
What?
Look at our scarf, totally split.
Oh.
Yeah, got so hot, expanded. That's not good.
That sucks.
Yeah, that's not good at all.
Oh my God, filthy. Hey, I remembered the code.
No, you gotta open the thing.
Oh, that's right, we locked it. Doesn't smell bad.
It's good. One issue I hear from other people that when they leave their boat is that a lot of stuff leaks when they're gone, and even with how hot it is in Guaymas, the bilges, a lot of times we know of a boat personally that came back and their engine was sitting in water. The boat took on so much nuisance water while they were gone. So the pleasant news, although we've had a couple unpleasant things so far, like the bowsprit having a split down the center of it, but the pleasant news is that there is 0 water in our bilge. It's bone dry. It doesn't smell bad in here either, so that's another good thing. So, and it's really cool inside, so that means our sunshades worked as they were supposed to. It's weird. It's almost it's like there was a zombie apocalypse and things were just left how they were. Like this bottle looks like we forgot it right in its place, and it just has like dust all over it and rust.
Bottle? Oh.
That, like these iPods over here, we just left. Obviously, we left kind of in a rush. I mean, just things we left just kind of out and about. I mean, this lock. I mean, stuff that we probably should have put away a little better. Lemon juice that's been fermentating for
Where was that?
6 months in the fridge.
Oh.
Great place for it. What else did we leave in there accidentally? Oh, it like exploded in there too.
The lemon did?
Yum. Mm-hmm. That's special. Alright, well, first project since we've gotten back. Let's take a look in the lazarette. Let's see if anything's living in here. We gotta check the batteries, see if they're in good shape still. Ready, and you can see that, but some of the cells are in really good shape and some are in not good shape. It's really hard to see that, but maybe you can without shadowing. Yeah, some are pretty freaking dry. The batteries seem to be roasted. Otherwise, I got the battery charger charging. That's why we have power. All the cells were down to about 1.3 volts. So I've learned that batteries don't do well in 115 degree heat, even when you top them all the way off. They were really old though anyway, so it's not the end of the world. We kind of expected that, but it still kind of sucks. Otherwise, so far so good. We haven't gotten too deep. I just turned on the fridge, it kicked on. It doesn't, and it sounds like it's actually circulating, which is a really good sign. We didn't lose our refrigerant. And yeah, I'll just keep on diving into things. We foiled all of the port lights before we left to keep the sun out, and I guess it worked quite well. A lot of these things we will never really know if it worked really well or not because we weren't on the boat. And so far it showed the boat showing that it got really hot, like as hot enough to like melt internal electronics and boil water out of the bilge. So I don't know if all the stuff we tried to do worked. I hope the chart plotter still works. Let's see if these screens are black. Hey, it still works. Life's good. It could have been just a black screen and nothing.
Ew. I might sleep at Justin Josh's tonight. I'm seeing millions of dead baby cockroaches. Are they actual are they water cockroaches or are they cockroaches? I don't know the difference. I mean, I think they're cockroaches.
Alright, let's see what kind of surprises we have in here. Dry food storage.
How's that look?
Nothing's crawling.
Good.
There you go. These bugs, these are bugs.
Yeah, they're definitely all bugs. They're none of them are moving though.
Doesn't actually look too bad.
I don't smell anything.
Good.
I found the culprit of the little cockroach things. If you look close enough, they are inside the rice. So I'm just gonna go through this real fast. Hopefully cockroaches don't bother me. And I will throw away the ones with them already inside, and I will keep the ones that are good.
With the inside of Prism cleaned up and bug-free, we unloaded the Forerunner and started to move on our new goodies. But we were a long way from splashing Prism and getting back to our sailing life. We had weeks of work ahead of us, and with the added issues from the summer stay now adding to our list of work, we had to begin immediately. We desperately wanted to get Prism back in the water for Christmas, so there would be a lot of sleepless nights and hard days ahead of us to achieve that goal. Next time on SV Prism. Prism is in rough shape after 7 months in the Sonoran Desert. It will take an army of 3 to get her back in shape for the new cruising season. We start by finding new batteries in downtown Guaymas.
It's a lot of driving around to find the right deal in Mexico, but hopefully there's a good one.
And locating a machine shop to help make Prism's new bronze external chain plates. As the workload increases, we learn that we cannot get our visas issued in town, but instead can only get them back at the border. So we add another hurdle to jump over as we try to stay on budget and get Prism back in the water. If you like this show, please subscribe if you haven't already. Also, follow us on Facebook and Instagram to see the newest updates on where we are right now. The show is funded by viewers like you, so if you like the show, consider becoming a patron so we can continue making the show in the future. For more details about Prism, camera gear, and the crew, go to svprism.com. Thanks again for watching, and like always, fair winds and following seas.